Welcome to my 10 lessons I've learned for investing in small cap stocks. Lesson number 7, shareholders. Now, when I first started investing back, what seems like 100 years ago now, but it's about 20 years ago, I never used to pay any attention to the shareholder register, largely because I was investing in big cap stocks. But when it comes to small cap stocks, the shareholder register is very influential in regards to the potential movement of the share price. And I'll explain why. At any one time, the number of shares in issue for a company is fixed. Now, if the demand for that share goes up and the supply can't move, the price of that share will go up. It's the laws of supply and demand, okay? But you're saying, okay, this can happen with any stock. Yes, but with small cap stocks, it doesn't take a lot to take up or soak up that supply, you know? So you've always got to try and look at the free float of a company. And so what does that mean? Okay, it means free float is pretty much the shares out there being sort of actively traded, not held. Now, what you want to see is a company, essentially, with a lot of stock held by the management and by institutional investors and by maybe high net worth investors. And because they're not day traders, they're long-term holders. These guys hold the stock for a long time, so the stock is locked up. All right. So let's say, you've got 100 million shares in issue and 70% of those shares are held by management, institutional investors and high net worth. So only 30% of the stock out there. That's all. Depending how big that company is, it doesn't take a lot to buy up that stock. And once it starts getting bought up and there's very little in free float, that share price will start moving. So how do you find out if a company has a low or small free float? Okay, it's two ways. Depends where they're listed, the company. If the company is listed on AIM, that company has to have on their website a list of significant shareholders. And by significant, that means they own 3% or more of the stock, okay? And if that person holds more than 3%, they have to notify the company any time the change in stock goes up by 1% or down by 1%. So if they go below that 3% threshold, they have to notify. If they go above every 1% they buy, they have to notify the company. The company has to share that via an RNS, regulatory news service, which you'll see on any website or company website. So on AIM, you can just check the company's website. With companies main listed, it's a bit different. They will have on their website a prospectus that they just listed, or any time they've raised money, they'll have a prospectus, which is worth looking at. But also, again, go through the list, the RNS list, the news out, and look for certain sort of RNSs. It's normally kind of holdings they're entitled as. In fact, we'll do that now. First of all, I'm going to go to an AIM company, and I'll look at Tlou Energy, TLOU, and I'll also look at Predator Oil and Gas, which is a main listed company, and we'll look at the difference. Here we go. Okay, so here we are at Tlou Energy's website, or Tlou Energy, and what I'm looking for is investors or shares. So there we are, Investor Center. Every AIM company has to have a Rule 26 on their website. That means explains everything you need to know, pretty much, what a company, directors, their roles, the company description, and also shareholders. But if you scroll down, we see significant shareholders here. So let's click on that, and let's see the significant shareholders. So there we are. It's got shareholder, number of shares owned, percentage. So Hargreaves Lansdown nominees. Now nominees, that's the shares are held by Hargreaves Lansdown on behalf of clients who hold shares of the company. So we can't really see who that is. It could be one person, could be many people. FNB nominees, same there, but there is an RNS I've seen that can unveil who holds these shares. Gilby Super. Oh, right. Okay, that's Tony Gilby. He's the CEO. He owns 3.33% of the company. All right, that's worth noting. I like to see CEOs hold a nice chunk of the company. Why? Because I see lots of CEOs talking up their company, giving it the big sell. And then I look at shareholder registers sometimes, and I've had a CEO on the podcast doing that, saying this company's amazing, amazing upside. I look at the shareholder register and see they don't hold any stock. I think, why not? If you think this, if you can make money in your company's shares by owning these shares in your company, why not own some shares? And directors, doesn't matter how much they hold, they've got to show how much they hold. So always look for that. Tony's got 3% of this company. It's a big chunk of shares. It was a 20 million market cap, so it's a fair chunk of shares he's got there. So he believes in it. To me, it's the difference between an owner and a manager. If you've got a CEO talking a good game, but not putting his money with his mouth, he's a manager. It's like you imagine any kind of business on the high street. If you've got a manager in there, He's paid a wage. Okay, if the business doesn't do well, goes through, he can get another job. You know, if an owner's, the business of the owner goes through, he's in bigger trouble. You know, that's his livelihood. That's the option he has. It's a lot harder to set up a new business rather than get another job. So I think, in my mind, owning a big chunk of shares shows you are an owner. And do you know what? The only way you can pretty much guarantee the management and CEO don't tuck up the shareholders is if they are one, if they are a shareholder themselves. They're aligned with the shareholders, you know. So it's always worth looking at. Below here, you can see the issued share capital there, 409 million. And they say the number of shares which are not in public hands, which represents the directors' holdings, is 28 million shares, or almost 7%. Now, this was last updated in July 20th. They only have to update these once every 6 months. So like I said, it's always worth checking out news the company's released as well, because that has to be up to date. So if we go to Tulu now, Energy here, and we scroll down, what you're looking for is RNSs with the title Holdings, or Directors, or PDMR Shareholding. So let's scroll down, look for Holdings. There we are, Holdings. Tulu Energy has been informed that due to dilutive effect of a recent capital fundraising, FNB nominees, we just saw that on the website, in the company, is now 4.7%. The number of shares held remains unchanged. So this can happen. So we've seen that company, whoever that is, FNB nominees, hold 19 million shares, but because the company recently issued more shares, the percentage they hold of that company has gone down. The number of shares hasn't changed. So I'll give you an example. Let's say you hold 50% of the company and they have 100 million shares in issue. Let's say they raise money and issue another 100 million shares. Your percentage shareholder in that company will go down by half because it's double the amount of shares. You still own the same amount of shares, but now you own 25% of the company rather than 50%. Hope that makes sense. If it doesn't, make a comment below and I'll try and explain. Okay, so let's scroll down and see some more holdings in this company. Operations update, operation for we're looking for holdings. There we are, holdings. This is called a TR1. Okay, these forms, when a company informs Talau or the company about shareholders, it's called a TR1. You can see here, standard notification. They have to notify of major holdings. So here we go. At the top of the form, you'll have the company, the shares the company's in. It's Talau Energy. Then you scroll down to box number 3, persons. So that's the Botswana Public Officers Pension Fund. So it's a pension fund. These are not day traders. They're holding a big chunk of shares, and they're long-term holders. It's for a pension fund, for heaven's sake. That's you don't get much longer holders than that. So it's from Botswana, where obviously Talau Energy is based. So if we scroll down, this is the important bit here. These little boxes here, number 7, can be very complex. So you've got 2 boxes on the right, position of previous notification. So before this TR1 came out, this is what they held. Always look at this box, total, because there's different percentages of voting rights attached to different kinds of shares. There are different sort of category of shares. But always look at the total. So total here, they had nothing before this announcement, and they bought 5.84% of the company's shares. That's how many shares are in the company. And that's what notified this announcement. Okay, so that's previous. But now we know from above, a more recent RNS, that the issued capital was increased, so it had a dilutive effect of that, so they hold 4.7%. So that there is a TR1. Let's go to United Oil and Gas. Now, this is a main listed company, so it's a little bit different. You do not get significant shareholders. Let's just bring this down here. You do have an investors part at the website, so click on that. Now, what you have to look for here is prospectus. That's the last time the company would have issued shares, or it's when they listed. And that's where you get the information from. So here we go, reports, presentations, press releases. I'm going to try this one here, reports. So corporate, they've only been listed since July in 2017. So there we go, prospectus. Okay. And there's another one here. So you'll see that. Is there any more? So there's a prospectus there. Let's have a look at that. So there we go. Proposed placing of shares, 4.2 pence, and they've got their description. So you scroll down, and it's not as easy as watching it on a website, but you can see. So what I want to look for, let's just do a search. let's just look at this here. I want to just search this document, and I want to hit Brian Larkin, because I've done the search before. So there we go. Straight away, major shareholders. You've got Brian Larkin as the CEO. Number of shares, number of shares on completion. So like I said, fully percentage of shares. So he owns 5.85% of the shares. That's good. That's a good chunk of shares. You know, it's nice to see that. But let's just go up to their news and see if they've had any holdings updates of late, and we can see who holds what. So let's look at another TR1, for example. Holdings. There we go. Scroll down. Got a company called SpreadX in St Albans. 1% to 1.3. So what is saying? Why is this? It's not over 3%. Again, look at the percentages because different voting rights. So they've gone from 4.9 to 3.9. So they're selling down, or it may be a result of dilutive effect. You have to find out if the amount of shares they held. I think they are selling down because was the prospectus out? No, it wasn't. So look and see if there's a recent fundraise. And there wasn't. So if the number of shares they hold has gone down rather than just percentage, they're selling down. It's always worth knowing this, you know. I'm going to once more. Predator Oil and Gas is a company I wrote a blog about recently. Tiny market cap company. It was 5.3. It was 2.5 when I started, 2.35 when I started buying. I know Paul is the CEO of this company. There's the website there. Now again, investors. And you're scrolling down, prospectus is there. It's on the 21st of May, 2018. And again, let's type in Paul Griff. There we are. So, at the date of this document, it shows there 53 million shares are issued, which owned 44 million were owned by Paul. So, I get that. But that's before they listed. Now, obviously, when they listed, they increased that amount. Oh, hang on. Here we go. It's got it here. So, you can see here, it says, shareholder Paul Griffiths, 44 million shares, percentage 83% he had before the listing. And then listing of shares, number after, he had 44%. There's another director here, holds 7%. So that's a big chunk. He owns almost half the company. So that would suggest he has confidence in the company. He owns half of it. So, you know, if I'm buying stock in that company, I'm quite confident he's acting in the interest of shareholders because he is a massive shareholder, you know. He doesn't get much bigger than that. That's a big chunk of stock he holds. So it's always worth looking at the shareholder register. It's very important when it comes to small cap stocks, and that, you know, that free float. How much free float is it? Try and work it out. But like I said, you should always look through RNSs and look through TR1s, and maybe I'll do this in a later sort of episode if you don't get it. But TR1s are very important. It's a very complex form, but just read through a few. See if you can try and work out what percentage a company has. And I tell you what, sometimes, you know, people say a big or major shareholder is a good thing. It can be a bad thing. Of course it can. Now, I've been in companies where a major shareholder started selling, and this has created downward pressure on the share price. But if you were researching a company, okay, and you notice a big company or institutional investor or big holder starts selling, that's an opportunity. And sometimes these companies, you know, institutional investors can sell, not because anything wrong with the company, because sometimes a change of management, a change of focus, a change of strategy at the company, and they just start selling down. I've seen it many times. I got an excellent position in Vasarian because an institutional investor was selling down because there'd been a change in management, a change in strategy. There was something wrong with the institution there. They had to get more cash on the balance sheet, and they started selling down Vasarian for no reason. This created a massive amount of pressure on the share price. Share price went down, so I just started buying slowly, started scaling in. And when the institutional investor had finished selling, the share price popped. It went crazy. There's a company I'm looking at the moment. That's happening. I like the company. I researched it, but I looked at the holdings RNS, okay, and it showed an institutional investor who holds a big chunk of stock is selling. In fact, I'll show you it now. I'll show you it now. Look at this company. I did buy a little bit of stock in this company. I'll show you it now. This is it. Brave Bison Group announced an excellent update of late. Then I looked at the recent. So listen, they do video, social media video, advertising video. Like, look, they've done a distribution agreement with one of the world's largest internet companies, Tencent, which is based in China. 1.5 billion Chinese viewers. It's not 1.5 billion viewers. There's 1.5 billion people in China. There's probably half that were internet viewers. But that's a massive deal. Massive deal. Market cap, it's where I like it. It's around about 10 million. Then the last RNS I saw, look at this. I looked down, scroll down, Invesco, which is a big institutional investor. And I scrolled down and thought, oh, hang on. They've gone from 17 to 14%. So they've sold, a couple of percent worth. That's a big chunk, in a company like that. And you can see the share price is going down. So I quite like this. And then there's downward pressure on the share price. I can probably get a better price. So I'm going to sit back and watch. I've scaled in slowly. I bought a little chunk. But I'm going to watch now and see where this goes, how far this... Because they have to announce. Every time they sell stock, they have to announce this. So I can just sit back and watch and see the pressure on the share price, happen. And I just think at the moment, I've looked at everything else, the assets, the cash, I quite like it. But I'll sit and watch this as the institutional investor sells down and see what happens. Because once they stop selling, you should see a pop in the share price. That should happen. So it's always worth looking at the shareholder register for small cap stocks. Hope that helps. It's a long video. I do apologise. It's quite complex. But like I said, if you've got any questions, comment below. And by all means, share this video. The more people that watch it, the more people like it, the more videos I'll do, because it's just showing to me that there's interest out there. And by all means, if you haven't subscribed, click the subscribe button there. And again, little plug for Vox Markets. I've used the website of Vox Markets. It's an excellent website. It's free. Get the app. You get RNSs straight to the front screen of your smartphone or any company you follow. So hit the follow button, and whenever you get an RNS or they release some significant news, you get that to the front screen of your phone. But by all means, please like, share, comment, and subscribe. There's my face. See it? Click on that. Hit subscribe. And my next video will be delivered straight to your inbox. By the way, if you want a notification, then hit the little bell button next to the subscribe button, and that will send you a notification to the front screen of your phone whenever I release a new video. Thank you very much.